Growing up as a child in the last 80 years, I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who's never played with a single Lego set, even if it was like your friends or something. They're an iconic piece of everyone's childhood, and I think a lot of that comes down to the simplicity yet robustness of these little bricks. If you don't have a job, you can make a house, a neighborhood, a car, an engine. It reminds me a lot of Redstone and Minecraft. The skill floor is easy enough to understand that just about anybody can make the lower end stuff, but high enough that you can make some genuinely amazing stuff out of Redstone and Lego. But even if you somehow never played with a Lego set, you've almost certainly played one of the games or what we're going to talk about today, movies. It shouldn't surprise you that there have been several Lego movies, but they're mostly licensed baby movies. You know, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, the Adventures of Clutch Powers. But that's not good enough for the idea of Legos, because like I said, it's basically infinite. So in November of 2011, Warner Bros. Studios set out to make not just a Lego movie, but the Lego movie. Something to really bring together what these little bricks truly represent. How do you take these toys that are filled with unlimited potential and make a movie about them? Well, you make Lord and Miller do it. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are titans in the animation industry, and while today I think most people know about them through the incredible work they put into their Spider-Verse films,
Alright, time to swing, just like I
their history in the industry actually goes pretty far back. They made Clone High, dude.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedy.
I mean, I didn't know that. They also served as writers for shows like How I Met Your Mother and The After Party, what the hell is that? Before they moved on to bigger and more expensive things in Bollywood. I mean Hollywood. The movie industry. They wrote and directed for 2009's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, a modern classic that changed the way CG films were animated entirely. They served as directors for 2012's 21 Jump Street. I won't say much about that because I still have yet to watch it. Yes, I am swine. And in 2010, they came to Warner Bros. With a pitch for the Lego movie. And after much blood, sweat, and tears, animation has a weird pipeline, the Lego movie would release on February 7th, 2014. It's a modern classic that forced the animation industry to evolve. Wait, hold on. And put animated films back onto people's radars more than just kid schlock. But enough yapping. How does this movie hold up today? I remember seeing trailers for this movie all the time when I was younger, but my mother wasn't really keen on going to the movies, so I waited patiently until it came out on DVD and then pirated it. Yes, I am swine. I don't really remember much about this film, other than that I really liked it when I first saw it, so I'm excited to see what was so genre-defining for the time. Obviously, this movie looks and sounds amazing. Apparently, the creators wanted everything to look like it could be made with real Legos, and I think they absolutely nailed it. The characters were animated like actual figurines, not doing anything an actual figure couldn't, like Ninjago or Lego City Adventures. Likewise, all the models looked so detailed, with things like small scratch marks and fingerprints. The texture work going on here is amazing, genuinely. I remember thinking this was a stop motion film, like something Leica would make, you know, Coraline or Kubo and the Two Strings. I said it wrong and didn't catch it till just now. And part of that is because it's got the whole Spider-Verse effect, being animated on 2s instead of 1s, which makes it look just a little bit more choppy. Even when watching the film today, for the first like 10 minutes, I was sitting here wondering if this movie actually was stop motion and I was just making stuff up. But the obvious CGI is used in very smart places, like facial animations and whatnot. Still, honestly, while watching this movie, my main thought was, yeah, this is definitely the team behind Spider-Verse. But that can only be a good thing. Spider-Verse is a generationally good-looking movie. The sound design's amazing too. It's usually just generic explosions or lasers, but then randomly there'll be a sound effect that sounds like a bunch of Legos being shaken around. All the jokes where the motor sounds are just some guy blowing a raspberry. Those always gave me the smallest bit of dopamine. The film itself is also very colorful, so vibrant and expressive, especially considering, you know, Legos. Kind of has the vibe of a Saturday morning cartoon. Stuff like the master builders going into a frenzy while crafting whatever they're trying to make. It was all very cool. Also, look at this crackle explosion. Neat. I love the way Princess Unikitty looks, being made from regular bricks and all. Is this where Princess Unikitty originated from? Let me Google that real quick. Okay, yeah, so she got her own show after this, so I guess someone out there liked her. Not that she's a bad character or anything, so she's fine enough. But honestly, all the characters are very likable and charming. Like Benny, the crazy astronaut who just wants to build a spaceship. He's probably one of my favorite characters in this movie. He does have stiff competition though, because of course there's the absolutely iconic Batman characterization. I usually don't like the douchebag characters who only exist to ridicule the main character, but the simple fact that it's Batman just makes it way funnier. That's the best way to describe the entire cast, really. They're just fun. Like the main bad guy, President Bismuth, voiced by the Chad Will Ferrell. Pharrell? I'm just gonna say feral. He manages to be intimidating to an extent, he is a Lego, but still funny. The Officer was a good twist on the good cop, bad cop trope. Wildstyle and Vitruvius are fun, and Emmett works well enough as our straight man main character. He's dumb, but he's not a bumbling moron, He doesn't know about the world he's been thrust into, but he's trying to. It's very cool. Like I said, there's not really a character I don't like here. Even the background characters are likable, just down to their designs. They all look like they could be part of their own Lego set, like the pirate or Shaq. I know a lot of that heavy lifting was done over the last 80 years, because Lego's kind of like the Fortnite of toy lines. There's Lego for everything. Still though, credit where it's due, they did good. But it's not even like it's being carried by its visuals or anything. The story here is fine. All the jokes work really well, and it wonderfully toes the line of being funny, but not at the cost of undermining the serious moments. And I think it's because every time there's a joke, it's balanced out by a serious moment. And every time there's a serious moment, it's balanced out by a joke. Like the Master Builders get captured, and Vitruvius is the last man standing, and he does his whole Baby Yoda moment to be cool and epic before he gets decapitated by a penny in a very funny, basically like cut to black. All the characters react like they just watched their mentor die, and then he's a ghost on a string, and then Emmett kills himself. It's all trade-offs, Most of my notes about the writing were just, I like this joke, I like that joke, this character's fun. And I mean, yeah, I agree, but not that the writing's shallow or anything, it's just a character-driven story. And it's good. Most Lego movies are generic slop like, yeah, Spider-Man. This movie has an actual story. And I think that's why it stood out to everyone when it first came out. The Lego movie is an amazing movie, and I like it a lot. It grossed $500 million, and critically, well, just look at the scores. So obviously we were going to get a sequel. Or 3. I originally wasn't going to talk about the games because I can't pirate them. But then I realized this is the ultimate Lego movie retrospective. I just decided that, don't question it. And it's not ultimate if I'm not talking about the game. I didn't even know they existed till I was at work listening to a Scott the Woz video, and he talked about it, and I was like, okay, I'll check out the Steam Keys website. And if they somehow have it, I'll buy it. And then I found them both for $8. The things I do for you guys. You should subscribe. That would be pretty epic. The Lego Movie, the video game, long title, was released on February 7th, 2014, at least on Steam. Yes, day and day with the theatrical release of the film. Wikipedia says it was released in October, but maybe that's just the console ports or something.
Read, nigga, read!
Anyway, it was developed by TT Fusion, who made most of the other Lego games, and you can tell so hard, for better and for worse, but we'll talk about that right now. For the first 30 or so minutes, I was not having this game at all. The title screen is terrible, it looks like a PS2 game. This released on the Wii U, not an overly powerful console or anything, but definitely more powerful than the PS2. So the fact that it looks like this is almost unacceptable. I spent so much time talking about how good the visuals in that first film were. They were amazing, I don't need to rehash that. The game just looks like another Lego game, Play-Doh textures and all. I think that would be way easier to accept if every single cutscene wasn't just a scene from the movie, but it only takes up like 40% of your screen. No, really, look at this scene transition, and then put the gameplay.
Turn it on!
It's not like the game looks terrible or anything, it looks fine, but it's got no flair, it just looks like another Lego game, like I said. Except now, the characters don't even speak Legonese, the wah 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 wah, wah wah wah. Instead, you got Chris Pratt on the mic every 3 minutes.
It's a me. Amari.
But like I said, that was all first impressions, because I think the game picks up tremendously after Emmett meets Wildstyle. The combat is fully introduced, and the switching characters is fully realized, and oh yeah, character switching. So each character has a class-specific thing that they can do. The girls jump higher and do parkour, construction workers fix stuff and follow instructions, master builders can build with no instructions, etc, etc. And because of this, the gameplay starts to throw more at you, asking you to repeatedly switch between 2 or more characters to get through specific sections, like using Wildstyle to climb a building and knock a ladder down for Emmett so he can crank open a door, or making Emmett build something with instructions so that it can be broken apart, and used to make something more useful with a master builder. Also, there's this one part where you fix like a phonogram or something and it plays this familiar music box tune that I recognized as the music that plays during
Chica's party.
The master building in this game is kinda whack. Like, it works fine, but, and I could be wrong, I haven't played a Lego game in like 10 years. I'm pretty sure it's just a building mechanic from the other Lego games, but now only some characters can do it. That's the game though. I didn't 100% it or anything. but what I played I had fun with. But like, it's a Lego game. As mediocre as they can be, I don't think there's ever been a bad one, except Bionicles. We have 2 more games to look at, so hopefully they actually start doing more with the concept. The Lego Movie was something really special because it wasn't just a movie that happened to be Lego, it lived and breathed the Legos, and had a simple but engaging story with fun characters. And the game does that, but like, it does it the way every other Lego game does. I'm not even saying it has to look as high quality as the movie. I don't even think we could do that with the consoles we have now. I guess I just wanted a bit more flair from the visuals. And to their credit, there are moments where you can tell that they did try. Stuff like the fact that the characters move, for the most part, like actual Lego figures. You know, their knees don't bend or anything like that. And they do throw a bunch of different levels at you, just like the movies. But then every time you get there, it's interrupted with an actual scene from the movies, and then you remember how it could look. I don't know, it just feels underbaked. It's not bad. Like I said, I did have fun, but I could tell they wanted to do more and just weren't given the time. This was a tie-in game released alongside a handheld version of the 3DS, all on the exact same day. So I can imagine they probably didn't have that much time to make this feel super unique, since they were following so close to the movie. Keeping that in mind, most of the issues I have with the game make way more sense. Like, there's a few cutscenes where the music is changed for some reason, but they were probably given like early versions of the movie or something. I know that was a bitter note to end on, but let me say again, I do like this game. I do think it's fun, and I think the positives do outweigh the negatives. The Lego Movie, the video game, mouthful, is a fun but familiar adaptation of the Lego Movie in game format, but they also made a handheld version, so. The Lego Movie, the video game, 3DS edition, was also released on February 7th, 2014, day and day with the movie and console stuff. This was also developed by TT Fusion, so like I said, I can imagine the team was spread so thin because of that. I'm sure that's why most of the issues I have with the console version, at least, were able to slip through the cracks. Going into this game, I have no real idea what to expect. I've seen other handheld remakes that are entirely different games or have specific levels or some that are just bad, but I'm gonna ignore all of that and give this game a fair shake. Presentation first, I think this game looks pretty impressive, especially for a 3DS game. It's not Nintendo level, but basically everything that wasn't made by Nintendo in-house looks pretty, yeah. I'm somehow always surprised by how good some games can look on this console. Like Mario Kart 7 and Mario Land look almost GameCube level. In reality, I think the vertices and stuff are probably closer to Mario 64, but the colors are way more vibrant, which makes it look much better. The colors look way less washed out than like the Wii. Okay, I'm rambling, but just know it looks good. Whereas the console release was an over-the-shoulder controllable camera to help the action aspects, the handheld instead goes for a top-down isometric perspective. Most likely because the 3DS is a fairly underpowered console, also because it doesn't have a second stick. But I actually like this a lot. It took a second to get used to, but it works surprisingly well. In the console version, the camera control was limited to slightly moving it left or right, most likely because the entire game is playable with a second character, so it would be poor game design to make the players fight over the camera. Similar to how 3D World works. You can't really control the camera there either. In this version, the camera is just kind of always behind you, following you. It's fairly zoomed out from the actual level, so you can see basically everything. I never found myself wishing I can control the camera or anything, so yeah, I think it works fine. A lot of that is because the levels themselves are designed entirely around the new perspective, so they feel good to run around it, even with the new camera system. Yeah, the levels have all, for the most part, been entirely redesigned to fit the new form factor. You can tell as soon as the very first level. It's entirely different from the console version. They're way smaller and compact, where instead of being these huge, epic, sweeping adventures, giving you multiple goals to complete before going to the next, like the console versions, instead you basically just complete a small goal and then go on to the next level. Like, okay, for example, after Wild Style Freeze Emmett, in the console version you have to defeat some enemies, and then open a door, and then shoot at the glass with a laser, and then you go into a different room where you do some parkour as Wild Style to boost Emmett up and get to the second floor. Then you bust outside and build a bike and run and do all that. This is all one level, by the way. But in the 3DS version, you just open a door with a laser. And that's the level. You build the bike as its own level, and then you escape Bricksburg as its own level. It's like segmented, you know? Also, whereas death in the console version was like every other LEGO game where you just lose some capital, in this one you have to restart the level. Not super punishing, but it's more than nothing. With the exception of the free-falling segments, basically every level design is different here. Like the bike chase. In the OG, it was an on-rail shoot-'em-up where you control Emmett and Wildstyle to progress specific scripted set pieces. In the 3DS version, you're weaving in and out of traffic like Fast Fast and Furious. It's super fast-paced and short, and that's why I like it way more. If I had to guess, some of these changes were made because the character switching has been reworked. Unlike the console versions where every character was on screen and you just chose which one to control, like Madden or something, in this version it works closer to something like a Ben 10 game, where you choose a character, you don't go to that character, you turn into them, which really helps making the levels feel more fast-paced and bite-sized. Because you don't have to switch to a character and then bring that character location to do what they need to do, you just switch to that character and do what they need to do. Also, the characters don't really talk to each other anymore, which was charming in the console versions. Now they just grunt. They control a bit differently too. No character can jump anymore, and instead they've all been given a dash. Wildstyle still does parkour, but now it's just scripted QTE type sections instead of actual platforming, which again I kind of like more than the console versions. The master building is pretty much the same, but when you do instructed builds, instead of clumsily moving through the wheel to select which break you want, now you use the bottom screen to actually click and drag the piece over, which I do like more. I feel like I'm overglazing this game too much, so let me be a hater for a little bit. First of all, like I said earlier, the character switching was reworked, and so because of that, the characters no longer talk in this one. I know I made fun of it when I was talking about that first game, but I kind of miss Chris Pratt's voice. Don't know what you have till it's gone, I guess. The whole game really is way more silent. I noticed a few segments where there's just no music. All you're hearing is explosions and the grunts from the characters. The only noise they make, by the way. Also, it really sucks at explaining some of the mechanics to you. Like the gun was explained in the very first level with Vitruvius's staff, and then like an hour later, they give you a gun and just expect you to remember how to use it. It's not a huge deal because I figured it out in like 30 seconds, but still, even though every level is super tightly designed, there's still a loading screen between each one, and sometimes a cutscene between that loading screen and the actual gameplay, which really doesn't help the immersion. And by the way, they also use movie scenes too. And for all the optimizing they did, there were still a few times I noticed pretty severe frame dropping. It only lasted a few seconds, and it's not like I don't understand why it's happening. And maybe it's because I'm on the original 3DS or something, but I figured I'd bring it up. Hi, I'm editing this and I forgot to mention that the music during the title screen and like the loading screen and in World 1, I think, is terrible. It sounds bad. And now you have to suffer because I had to suffer. It's not that bad. I mean, it follows music theory, I imagine, but it ain't going in my playlist. These are all just nitpicks though. I really wasn't expecting to say it, but I might like this one more than the last. It's not by a lot, and I think the console version is more replayable, which is kind of a detriment for the 3DS version, considering it's on a handheld. Replayability is super important for those. But as far as handheld ports go, I mean, it's better than Sonic Lost World. Not a very high bar, I know. And now I'm gonna talk about Lego Batman. I was telling my sister about how I planned to make this video, and she was like, Lego Batman is the best one. That's her real voice, by the way. And I was like, you seen them all? Nope, the Lego Batman movie. Alright? Spin-offs focused on a secondary character are usually bad. No way around it. Bland and lazy, and you don't need me to tell you that. However, I think, and have always kind of thought, that a spin-off can work if you show why it deserves to exist alongside the main show, or movie in this case, as a sister series to expand the franchise. Most spin-offs don't do this, but I think that's because when most spin-offs are made, I think they just take a side character who's maybe funny and make them the main character, but that usually just makes these characters even more annoying. There's a reason Cleveland is only funny in bursts. He wouldn't work as a main character. Oh. But when you expand that side character and make them less one note in the spinoff, I think it can work. It's what separates the Better Call Sauls to the Planet Sheens.
I'm Earth.
Earth? I have never heard of Earth. And you speak Zenuian.
Wow, Zenuian sounds just like English.
Side tangent aside, Lego Batman was released on February 10th, 2017, and is the second movie of today's video. Obviously. Unlike the first, I actually have seen this one a few years after it released. I really only remember a handful of scenes from it. Batman was the standout side character among a sea of good characters, so I think making a movie about him was a good choice. However, in the first movie, he was a pretty simple character. He wasn't boring or anything, he was just Batman, a more comedic take than I think we've ever had on the character. And so I think if you want to make a movie about him, it is important to flesh him out. He doesn't need to be a media talk LARP character or anything, just a little bit more than that.
Once we arrive in Cloud Cuckoo Land, we'll raise an army of master builders.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys gotta check out these new subwoofers I installed in the back. I call them the dogs. Listen to them bark.
Can you turn that down?
And after watching the movie, I actually think they did this really good. Batman in the first movie is just kind of a douchey guy. It was funny because it's Batman, but that's all it really was. And even though I liked him, I was wondering how he could carry a whole movie like that. I was hoping he would be tweaked for his standalone film at least. So the opening scene had me seriously worried. It opens with Batman talking about how he's a loner and no other characters mean anything to him. He's still likable, but he's just, the same funny dickhead he was in the first one. And he's just as funny in this movie as he was in the first, if not more. He's a dick to Alfred, he's a dick to Babs, he's a dick to random citizens, and he carries that dickheadishness all the way through the first act, up until a little after Robin is introduced, who has a great design. I love the glasses. He's an orphan who has to get adopted while Bruce, he's at a party by the way, is ogling Barb and trying to make him go away. He just agrees to adopt him, which was a good way to do it humorously. Robin really is the catalyst for Batman's change. Bruce needs him for a mission, but the Batmobile doesn't have any seatbelts because life doesn't give you seatbelts. But when Robin hits his head on the dash, Batman's like, maybe I can give you a seatbelt. Or when Robin's doing the mission and Batman's like, I'm proud, son. It's really sappy, but it's fun because it's Legos. And it still isn't as sappy as Batman's relationship with Joker, which is just gay yaoi. Joker is literally a tsundere, kinda. This whole movie is just sappy, honestly. The running theme of Batman not wanting a family because he's afraid to lose them, so he prefers to be alone, is a little beaten over your head. But they do a good job of making it clear that Batman is a loner, but he does want friends. Like when the Justice League is having a party and everyone's there but Batman. And you can tell he's sad he didn't get an invite. Or when the Bat family is finally starting to look like a family, and Bruce sends them to a taco shop. That's not a joke, that's really what he does. And then he gets banished to the Phantom Zone, gets freed, almost gets banished again. Oh yeah, the Phantom Zone. Whereas the first movie's MacGuffin, the Craggle, was the central focus, kinda. It was more like a jumping point, but it's also prominent through the film. This movie's MacGuffin is the Phantom Zone projector, and Batman only wants it so he can literally banish Joker to the Friend Zone. The Phantom Zone. And that's where Joker unites with the cross-dimensional bad guys, like Sauron or Gremlins. What? Yeah, I was about to complain how the movie's visuals feel so much more plain because it's just using Batman. And it looks good. It looks really good. In fact, on a technical level, I think it may look a bit better than the first. But the first movie also had a bunch of DC stuff, and Western, and sci-fi, and look, you get the point. But this movie's just kinda black, gray, some green. It's not like a noir film level of bad. It doesn't look like Mouse P.I. That game looks really good, by the way, just black and white, that's why I mention it. Honestly, this probably is the most vibrant, at least I've ever seen, Gotham. But compared to the first movie, it's just not as vibrant. So I think the Phantom Zone and the baddies that come with it, not like that, was introduced at the perfect point. Right before I was ready to say it was getting repetitive. Again, not bad. Honestly, if this wasn't a Lego movie, I literally wouldn't care. But the first movie was a wacky color explosion and this one isn't. When there is color, it looks super good and it helps it pop way more. I noticed a little bit of the green in the sky or the ambient lighting when Robin's picking out his suit. It all looks really cool. It contrasts nicely with all the black. But that was just a really long-winded way of saying this movie looks amazing and sometimes looks better than the first. There's just less color, or at least less colorful moments. Still looks better though. You can definitely tell they honed their craft when it comes to making this Lego stuff, except there's barely any master building here. Off the top of my head, I can only think of 2 scenes, and that was to build something that already existed, and it was only used by Batman a few times. And also, it's the same thing. This isn't a huge deal. I honestly was glad to see it, but because Batman is a master builder, I think I just wanted to see him do it a bit more. If I had to guess, they did that because they wanted to show off Batman's gadgets more. His pewter, his Batmobile, but he could just build them. Again, not a huge deal. If Batman did more building, it probably would have interrupted the pacing. It's just something I noticed. Also, there's that moment where Batman is infatuated with Babs when they first meet, and there's like a running gag of Batman crushing on her, but there's a throwaway line about how she used to idolize him when she was a kid, and after that, the entire plotline is dropped. Batman 1, line maker 0. This movie's just as funny as the first. My favorite character here is probably Batman again. He's just too likable. I like that he acts like a man baby, but comedically. Throwing a tantrum at Alfred, not wanting to go to his friend's retirement party, having rap solos, and laughing at sappy rom-coms. then put the laugh here. That soundbite made me smile just a little bit every time. The Lego Batman movie is a worthy successor to the first. When I started writing this one, I didn't think I'd have much to say. And I guess compared to the games, I really didn't. Like, even more so than the first movie, my notes were just, this thing is funny, I like that. But I think the few things I did feel about this movie, I felt stronger about, you know? It's got way higher highs and only slightly lower lows. And in a lot of ways, honestly, in most ways, it is better. And so because of that, I think I prefer this one to the former. It's just solid. Although, the difference is minuscule. Ask me in like 10 minutes, I might change my mind.
Long before time had a name, the first Spinjitzu master.
The Lego Ninjago movie released a little over 6 months after the last, on September 22nd, 2017. And I have to wonder why. Like, animation studios are no stranger to holding on to movies until they think the time is right. Illumination did it with Minions Rise of Gru. Don't ask why I know that. I wasn't a gentle minion, I swear. And for a more recent example, Wile E. Coyote vs. Acme was in production and ready to release for like a year or two now, and is just now being released in theaters. Same with the new Avatar movie. My point is that this movie scored pretty damn low, especially compared to the other films. And I'm kind of wondering if a huge part of that is just Lego fatigue. Like I said, this film was released the same year as the Lego Batman movie. Why not just hold it a little longer and then release it? Give people more breathing room so they aren't drowning in Legos. You know, oversaturation of a genre can make people start to think that even if something is quality, it's just not that good because it's the same. Or maybe it's just bad. I mean, I remember it being good. The movie is based on a CGI show of the same name, minus the movie part, that ran on Cartoon Network for 15 seasons. Wow. And has a sequel series to keep the story going. I don't know how. How could there be so many stories to tell about these color-coded ninjas? I remember thinking they were running out of ideas at like season 8, after Lloyd is like missing or something, and then they're all like forced to fight in a Mortal Kombat tournament. Look, Johnny Cage Lego. So how so many episodes? Did it just get bad? Maybe, I don't know, I mean, I'm not watching it. I actually used to really like this show a lot. Kai is the best ninja, by the way, and then Lloyd, and then Nia, and then Jay, and then Zane, and then Cole. Fuck you, Cole, by the way. He didn't do anything that crazy. I just remember him being a dick. So like, yeah, fuck you and stuff. When the movie came out, it was my favorite Lego movie of them all. I used to pirate it, stream it legally, all the time. I was a poor kid, okay? This is actually the only Lego movie I remember anything about, really. Even more so than Lego Batman. My dad took me and my siblings to go see it in theaters. And like I said, I remember liking it for more than just the epic TikTok memes, like...
And it's Lloyd, Dad!
No. Lloyd. I named you.
And... But maybe I'm wrong. I was like 10. I didn't exactly have the best media comprehension skills. Guess we'll never know. Unless I watch it. Lloyd and his friends are elemental ninjas that protect the fictional town of Ninjago from the evil Garmadon, Lloyd's dad. And one day, Lord G is successful in conquering Ninjago. But to stop him, Lloyd uses the ultimate weapon. A CGI cat, oh no! To restore his honor and save the town, Lloyd and his friends go on an epic journey to find the ultimate weapon. But along the way, Master Wu fucking dies, oh my gosh. And so because he knows where they're headed, they bring Garmadon, he's in a cage by the way, along so he can teach them how to be ninjas. And more importantly, so he can bond with his son. Hijinks ensue. Lloyd gets his damn arm ripped off. Wow. Lord and Garmadon bond over the journey before he plugs them over one last time for the alt weapon, which is actually just 6 weapons based on the elemental powers of the ninjas. Fire, earth, water, lightning, ice. No air though.
Green.
But because they're so epic and cool, and also the main characters, they break free using their awesome elemental ninja powers to go kick Garmadon's teeth in and save the town again, probably again. It was really smart of them to not set this in the same continuity as the other films. It allows them to tell the story they want to tell, which wouldn't have really been possible with the old continuity. Like the Green Ninja is literally in the first film and he just looks like the Green Ninja, who would have thought? Like literally every single movie we've looked at today, this movie looks, spoilers for the next film I guess by the way, this movie looks amazing. It's got a whole retro future 1980s/90s/70s, I don't know, some time period, mixed with some odd future time period, and I think at least it looks really good. And whereas the last 2 films really pushed the Lego aspect of the visuals, this one does something unique for these films and pushes the "these Legos inhabit our world" aspect. Like compare the lava from the Lego movie to this lava in the volcano, or the old western section in the film compared to the beach in Ninjago. This is just real wet sand versus a bunch of studs. The lighting is also way more harsh and realistic, with tons of lens flares, and the actual animations for the characters themselves are trying to push the Lego aspect as far as it can go. Like, there's this section where Lloyd has his hands on the sink, and you can tell they're trying to make him look Lego, but like, I don't know, it looks almost real. It's even more expressive than the past two movies, which is really impressive to me considering I already thought they were super expressive. It's kind of got a mixed media vibe to it, but I mean, I like it. I don't know if I like it more than the previous. Like I said when talking about Batman, you can only do so much with the whole Lego aesthetic before it starts to just be restrictive. So I understand the need to defy norms for these movies. I'm also pretty fond of all the character redesigns. I like that all the ninjas have black suits and colored accents closer to real ninjas, except Zane, who's a white ninja. But that also works because there's shite ninjas too. I put shite ninjas in the script. But that also works because there's white ninjas too. They also all have their own flair to the costumes themselves. Like the fact that Cole doesn't have sleeves, or Kai having a black mask and red uwagi. Yeah, I googled it. With black accents. And all the mechs they drive are super cool. They remind me of Transformers a ton, the way they're animated and framed. Especially Cole's. It looks like that one Constructicon from the start of 2. Although my favorite is definitely Lloyd's, because it's a giant dragon. But they're all super cool, and if they were gonna deviate from the whole each ninja gets an elemental dragon, I think this was a good way to do it. It really helps push the retro future aesthetic I mentioned earlier. It reminds me of San Tokyo from Big Hero 6. Garmadon, the main villain of the film, has a cool shark mech that he uses for like 10 minutes. Okay. All his stuff was like ocean themed for some reason, and I don't think this was in the show. I mean, I just remember the snake guy. But that doesn't stop him from being probably my favorite antagonist in all these films. He doesn't act all that much like an actual villain. He's just a giant dickhead, and I love him. He's got all the funniest moments. Like,
Channel number 5, crash the stock bucket.
or,
Well, if you can see me, why don't you shoot me? Ow! That was like in my kidney!
or who could forget,
LLOYD. I named you.
it's like Lord Business with the douchiness turned up to 11. He even cries tears of fire. Maybe it's because I love his dynamic with the characters, especially Master Wu, voiced by the Chad himself, Jackie Chan, who actually does a pretty good job. He's presented as a super calm and collected elder master who can have fun with his students. But when he fights Garmadon, which for what it's worth is the best fight in all these films so far, they're literally just fighting like how actual brothers fight, bantering the whole time. You never get the idea they actually want to kill each other. They just want to fight. Maybe Garmadon's just my favorite character because he's in it more. Basically the second main character right next to Lloyd. The entire story hinges on their relationship. They do a pretty good job of setting up how because Garmadon is his dad, Lloyd's life is pretty terrible. His classmates hate him, the news anchors make fun of him on live TV, his dad doesn't even want to talk to him for real, and basically everyone but his mom, Master Wu, and the other ninjas hate him. By the way, those other ninjas are just dickheads the second he messes up. They're all like, we didn't hate you before, but now we do. And that's the film. I don't think it was my favorite or anything, definitely in last place. But I don't think it deserves the hate it gets. I looked into it and most of the criticisms are just either it's generic or it's not accurate to the source material. But like, the first Lego movie is literally about a prophecy, put the OSP clip, about a guy named The Special who will use the Piece of Resistance to stop Lord Business, featuring a song called Everything is Awesome. These movies live and breathe generic. What sets them apart is Legos, obviously, and the characters. Like, even though they go through similar journeys of self-discovery, Lloyd is not Batman, is not Emmett, you know? They're all unique characters. And I guess if you don't like these characters, that's understandable. For what it's worth, they're definitely the weakest bat so far. Again, aside from Garmadon, he's epic. But I think if you find the characters even a little likable, you'll have a good time with this movie. Now, as an adaptation, yeah, it's terrible. Well, actually, it's just not one-to-one, which isn't that important to me. Actually, it's not important to me at all. I'm of the belief that when something is being adapted, be it a remake, a retelling, or just a new take on the same story, the little changes made here and there are what make the veterans want to come back and revitalize a decades-old property. It's why I never minded the changes made to something like RE4 Make. Like, yeah, it's different, but it's still good, and a ton of the changes made were for the better. Plus, the OG's right there, just go play that. I can agree it does get to a point where too many changes are made for no real reason, like just gonna use it because it's right in my brain, but the RE3 make cut a whole bunch of stuff for no real reason, like the clock tower, the Gravedigger boss fight, and it was worse off for it. Tangent aside, My point is that, in most cases, I have to wonder if changes made to a property are really that big a deal. Like, how many times do you want to watch the same story shoved down your throat, hitting all the same beats, having all the same characters that look and act the exact same way? Plus, like I said earlier, Ninjago has over 15 seasons. There is literally no way to fit that into a movie that wouldn't feel rushed and forced and lame. There's no way around it. So taking the characters, reworking them to fit in this new world and tell this new story, to me, is fine. Mostly because I still find them likable. But okay, that was a lot of yapping to say that this is probably still the worst movie we've looked at today. Not bad, it's actually quite good. I mean, I didn't just spend all that time defending it for nothing. I am starting to notice a formula with these movies though. Take the outline for the first, replace the characters and the MacGuffin, tweak it a little bit, and bam, you got a Lego movie. But I don't know, terrible? Are you really gonna use the word terrible to describe this film?
Yes.
Fair enough. Lego Ninjago video game. For some reason, this movie also got a game. I can't imagine why.
Money!
So I figured I might as well take a look at it. Again, ultimate retrospective. I don't actually have much to say about this game because it's just like the first one. It does some stuff to set itself apart, at least from the last two. Like there's a dodge, the soundtrack uses traditional Chinese instruments, and I really like all the flair they put into the HUD. It reminds me a lot of Fruit Ninja. But like, literally every single criticism I had of the first applies here too, and then some. Like the characters don't even act like themselves anymore. It's like an adaptation of an adaptation. Not terrible or anything, but do I even need to add anything else? I will say, I appreciate that they actually animated unique cutscenes this time. And this game does have a more unique look than the last two. Like, I really can't think of another Lego game that looks like this one. It definitely gets the closest to the visual style of the movie. Can you tell I'm struggling to find things to say? I feel like I'm harping on this game a bit too much, so let me say, it's not a terrible game or anything. It's just my least favorite. Just like the movie, who would have thought? I do want to say, it's insane to me that Masters of Spinjitzu, that's a subtitle for the show by the way, never got a proper game. That show, hell, that Lego line, more than any other, except maybe Bionicles, but we've been over this, is the most fitting for a game. It's literally about ninjas with elemental powers. The Lego Batman movie didn't get one either, that's why I didn't mention it. It just got a story pack in Lego Dimensions, but I didn't play it because I couldn't find it. It looks alright. There, that's my review. So why did they give this movie a video game?
Money!
Everything's not awesome.
The Lego Movie, the second part, released on February 2nd, 2019, and it's a story about love. Spoilers, I guess. This is the movie I knew the absolute least about. I had no idea what to expect when going into it. The only thing I knew about it was that one scene on TikTok like a year or two ago, put the media talk clip of like the...
I darkened my hair with marker because I wanted people to think I was cool and grown up. And then I tried to change you into someone tough too, and I was wrong. I like you the way you were. Sweet. Innocent, kind.
Real Lucy would never say that.
This movie picks up after the first, like right after the first, literally when the Duplo bricks invade, and are met with racism. Okay, that's not even a joke. They appear and instantly everyone wants to kill them. Emmett tries to save the day with a heart, but they consume it. Time skip 5 years, Bricksburg is now Apocalypseburg, and everything is dull, lifeless, and dead to color. Except Emmett. But everyone else has changed, and everyone else wants Emmett to change with them. And so when this astronaut girl knockoff Lego thing comes and takes the side characters that matter from the last part, and Emmett tries to rally all the townsfolk, they basically call him a but he goes anyway, almost dies, then gets saved by a totally not future version of himself, and learns how to act tough. Meanwhile, the side characters meet the totally not evil and malicious Queen Whatever I Wanna Be. Oh, I get it now, like whatever I wanna be. Oh, okay, it's pretty clever. Voiced by Tiffany Haddish. I don't know who that is. She sings some songs that don't brainwash the side characters, and enacts her plan to marry Batman. Can you blame her? But Emmett's here to save the day and destroys the ceremony, but actually they wanted the ceremony, and the totally not evil queen wasn't actually evil, okay? But the totally not future Emmett, Rex, actually was evil, and he betrays kinda Emmett and throws him under the dryer, and the world literally falls apart when Mom makes them put away their toys, the kids by the way, but they save the day by singing pop songs. Yeah, Rex disintegrates, and everything is awesome. See what I did there?
Ooh, you suck.
This is probably the most convoluted story of all these movies so far, but it's not bad though. I actually kind of like it. More than I was expecting to, at least. I saw people saying they thought this movie didn't have the same magic touch as the last, and I agree wholeheartedly. But I don't think it's bad, just a little too on the nose with how generic it is. Like all the movies poked fun at being Legos, but this one feels, well, embarrassed isn't the right word, more like schadenfreude. Like they don't want to take themselves seriously at all. They know that you know that this is all just some kid playing with Legos. So they drop the act all the way and just fully embrace it. But I think they actually do this to the movie's detriment. It's all just super obvious, and that more than anything is the most annoying part. Like, oh wow, a joke about stepping on Legos. How original. Or like when Lucy is outside of the play zone, I forgot what it's called. She realizes what Armageddon, that's the main threat by the way, really is. And she literally just spells out the joke to you out loud. The Queen sings a song about how totally not evil she is. They talk about forcing them to listen to pop music. It's a musical. What? Yeah, for some reason they decided this movie should be a musical, and all the songs low-key kind of suck, I can't even lie. They aren't terrible. I never wanted to turn the movie off except for one, but I don't even remember which one it was, so, you know, I'm epic and cool like that. But they aren't earworms that get stuck inside your head for a long ass time. Like, there's this song called This Song's Gonna Get Stuck Inside Your Head, and it's a fine song, but I just finished the movie 20 minutes ago, and I don't even remember how it goes. Sorry, everything's not awesome. Everything is awesome. You aren't. All the characters also act not like themselves. Like, I don't like how rude they are to Emmett, even though he literally just proved himself. Proved that he can save the world. There's a line where the Space Girl knockoff thing, I don't remember her name, is like,
so you fought and master built and kicked butt, and then the hapless male was the leader.
No! Did we watch the same movie? In the first movie, Emmett is really only an idiot. Well, okay, he's really only useless during the escape from Bricksburg. After that, he starts growing and changing and learning and getting better as the movie goes on. When they need to escape the Wild West and they're in like that wagon thing, but a wheel gets blown off, he's the one who fixes it. He saves them from the flood with the double-decker couch. He made the plan to stop Lord Business. He sacrificed himself to save the Master Builders. He came back as a Master Builder and actually sealed away the Craggle and turned Lord Business into a good guy. Like, no, he wasn't a useless bum until the end. He just wasn't a master builder until the end. And those are two very different things. And I know some people are gonna listen to this and say, it's not that deep, bro. And you're right. But I really like Emmett. He's probably my favorite character, at least in this movie. And seeing his accomplishments be taken from him for a simple joke is just like, why? Like, Emmett doesn't really regress from where he was in the last film, but all the characters treat him like he has. It's never really super egregious, except for what I just talked about, but at PMO, so I mentioned it, damn. The new characters, the Space Girl, and especially Queen whatchamacallit, are really fun. I thought I was gonna hate them, but nah, I love the Queen's design, or lack thereof, I guess. She's like a shapeless mass that can be anything. Like, she pushed the concept of Unikitty to its absolute extreme. Space Girl is fine, aside from that. Alright, I've stalled enough. What about the visuals? Put like a lightning strike and a scream sound effect. Yup. I mean, they're fine. Visually, it's a very pretty looking movie. After Apocalypseburg, the film is super colorful. And I love the way the Void, I'm just gonna call it the Void, looks. But like, all these elements were in every other Lego movie. And well, it just looks like every other Lego movie. I'm repeating myself so much, and I am sorry, but like, I don't know, it's true. It just looks like the other movies. It's a little bit better. It's got a slightly more unique flair to it because of all the Lego knockoffs and Duplo stuff, and it probably is the most technically impressive movie, but I think I prefer any of the ones we looked at before to it. Kind of like how, yeah, there are some games with super hyper-realistic looking visuals, but like, I don't know, I like the way the GameCube looks more. So, yeah, I guess that's the movie. Don't let that last little bit fool you. I know it was super bitter, but like, it's a fine movie. A good movie, even. But I feel the same way about this movie that I felt about all the others. So, like, you know, I was just trying to write down, like, new thoughts I had about it compared to the others, and, I'm checking my notes, and I don't really have anything else to say. So, game. The Lego Movie, the second part, The video game? These titles just get longer and longer. It was developed by, oh no, yeah, you guessed it, Traveler's Tale. The same developer behind literally every LEGO game. Look, I'm not gonna waste your time. This is probably my least favorite thing I've looked at today. And don't let that fool you into thinking I think it's bad, because really I don't. But, okay, let me explain. The game opens up with an unskippable cutscene, showing off Apocalypseburg and these new graphics. Gross. First off, I want to talk about the presentation. It's bad. Okay, maybe not bad, but definitely my least favorite looking thing so far. And I played the 3DS version. The budget for this one must have been pretty low, because they couldn't even get the original voice actors back for this, and I'm pretty sure the last one was able to. Actually, there's only really one voice actor in this whole thing, and that's a Lucy impersonator. And I think it uses the LEGO Dimensions engine, and that was like 5-year-old software at this point, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just made a bunch of levels and exported them as their own project file. And I would triply so not be surprised, because I think these menus really suck. Like, they aren't the worst thing in the world, admittedly, but I mean, look at them. The master building has been reworked, so now you have to find specific bricks, which I don't really like as much. I don't know, the original felt, well, okay, should have felt quick and snappy. Find the parts you need, your character builds it. Now there's a collection of different builds you choose from, like a trampoline or a generator to progress specific sections. There's actual boss fights now, just talking about the first one. It has you electrocuting this Duplo llama thingy and climbing it shot of the Colossus style to kill it from the inside. The whole game itself has a way more cinematic feel, more like Uncharted than a LEGO game, at least more so than the last few, which I actually do like. And yeah, that's the game. I don't really have much to say about it, but like I've been saying for the past couple of things we've looked at, it's just the same, I don't know, but this one's definitely the worst one. I wanted to know the general perception of this game, and from what I could tell, this is the least favorite of every game so far. And I agree wholeheartedly, it's pretty bad. This isn't any hate towards the developers. I know they're talented, just look at the new LEGO Batman game, it looks amazing. No, I'm not talking about that one, by the way, it's not a movie game. I don't care if it shares some elements with the 2022 film. I honestly don't really know why this one is here. I mean, it's technically a LEGO movie, but, well, I mean, it doesn't even have a LEGO movie in the title, so look, I already watched it, okay? So because why not, let's look at Piece by Piece. It's a biopic film about the legend himself, Pharrell Williams, but Legos. That's not really surprising at this point in the video. And much like every other film we've looked at today, it looks good. In my opinion, it gets the closest to the original film in terms of that color and like snappiness. It's probably still the worst looking movie though. I don't know, it just looks so boring. Like, it doesn't really have anything to set itself apart. I guess seeing the LEGO caricatures of all these real life people was cool. And like I said, I did learn something. This honestly feels like the type of movie a music teacher would play during the last week of school. And also, I had no idea Pharrell Williams had so much to do with the music industry. Like, basically every artist that's topped the charts has had at least one beat made by him. It's crazy. I will say, considering the fact that this movie is about one of the most prolific artists of the last few decades, the soundtrack is pretty meh. Like, I get they want you to focus on the story more so than the other aspects of the film, but like, I don't know, the first film had a better score, and so did Batman and Loki Ninjago. Did better than the sequel though. And I'm not talking about the actual music they use, like Pride, Happy, and all the stuff with the Neptunes. Obviously, all that stuff is good. But the background, like scene-to-scene music is pretty, just okay. There's like this weird fish motif, and I don't know what's up with that. They said at one point when I was watching the movie with my mom and little cousin, and we were all thinking this was a kid's movie. That's like the only cuss word in the whole film, so I don't know. Alright, look, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I don't have much to say about this movie, but like, do I even need to finish? It's not a bad film. It's perfectly fine, but I mean, I'll probably never watch it again, and that's it. Don't let that last section fool you. Honestly, Piece by Piece is a fine movie. I just don't have much to say about it. I enjoyed everything I looked at today, even if it got kind of negative at points. Honestly, I expected to get way more burnt out by these films, but no, it was fun. A lot of that is probably because I took way longer breaks than I should have to make this video. Looking back, I probably could have done it in like 2 weeks, but yeah. So for Shiggles and Gits, let's do a ranking because that's original. Coming in very last place, LEGO Dimensions, the LEGO Batman Story Pack. This is technically LARP, I didn't watch this one. Piece by Piece, the LEGO Movie 2, the second part, the video game. The LEGO Ninjago Movie, the video game. The LEGO Movie, the second part. The LEGO Movie, the video game. The LEGO Movie, the video game. 3DS edition. The LEGO Ninjago Movie. The LEGO Batman Movie. The Lego Movie. See, I told you I'd probably change my mind. Honestly, most of this stuff is pretty interchangeable, although I stand firm that those first two films are definitely the best. I know it's the popular opinion, but like, it's the popular opinion for a reason. And I wouldn't call anything I've looked at bad. The worst of it is just like okay, you know? But that's neither here nor there. Although I understand why the Lego Movie franchise kinda died out, oversaturation being the main culprit, I do honestly hope they make something else. Maybe try their hand at a Bionicles movie and make it not terrible. Or don't. That works too. Well, yeah, this video took me way longer than it should have, honestly, and you know, I'm sorry about that. My next video probably won't be something like this, but I do have more scripted content that I want to make. It was something I wanted to do last year, but I just never really got the chance. I'm rambling. But I guess that's kind of what this is for, and I don't know. This channel, I always kind of wanted to just be a diary of like how I feel, but I don't know, reaction content is like boring and slop, so I wanted to do something. Well, I don't know, original is really the word, because like everybody makes scripted stuff, but like I don't know, I just want to throw my hand in the ring. I started with the Lego Movie franchise because they're movies I've wanted to watch for like a long time, but I just never really got around to it, and it seemed so much more simple than, I don't know, Hunger Games or something, which I do want to make a video on. But then I started playing it and I was like, there's a lot of games for this, I might as well. And here we are. If you got this far, genuinely, you know, thanks. Let me know how I did, by the way. Give me some pointers about something was like cringe or I don't know, most of this is probably cringe, I don't know. It's very different from my usual kind of video, so it was definitely challenging. But I had a lot of fun doing this. You know, well, yeah. Thanks for watching.